going on. Freedom is in danger. Agents of the state, they taking children from the manger. Oh, they will sacrifice your kids.
Hello, everybody.
Take Brendan Dassey, that's exactly what they did. They needed someone, oh, Jody wouldn't flip. They looked around, saw him quick. Oh, it made so much sense why. Oh, Brendan Dassey, he was Stephen's alibi. There's something going on in Wisconsin that's not kosher. We better stop, let's all take a look closer. Oh, they will sacrifice your kid for Brendan Dassey. That's exactly what they did.
Why do you think I'm doing this live, Amber?
They visit him once, they visit him twice. They make him feel so safe. Sandwiches, soda, so nice. No cameras rolling and under no lights. Who knows what went on up in Fox Hill Monday night? There's something going on. And freedom is in danger. Everything about this can't get in stranger and stranger. All we know, they will sacrifice your kid. Oh,
Brendan Dassey, that's exactly what they did.
March 1st, alone in a room with Bert and Ernie. No parent present and no attorney. 4 hours later,
hi, Shauna.
With a touch of the knee, they finally get Brendan to agree.
Hi, Jason in Ireland. Awesome. Love the international supporters.
I said there's something going on. Oh, they will sacrifice your kid. Take Brendan Dassey. That's exactly what they did. There's something going on. I said freedom is in danger when the agents of the state can take the children from the manger. Sacrifice your kid. Take Brendan Dassey. That's exactly what they did. Take Brendan Dassey. Oh, that's exactly what they did.
Hello, everybody. Hello. How are you? So, wasn't planning to do a live today, really. But you know, Zellner's little Q&A today was pretty darn interesting. So there's a lot of things there that I, you know, particularly the stuff about the battery, which Jay was hitting at last night. Also, want to somebody was asking today. Also, want to point out the opening music for my live videos, and well, now pretty much all my videos, is made by a gentleman named Stacy Seabrook. You can find him on YouTube. He's, you know, you just type in Stacy Seabrook and you should get it, or you could type in the name of the songs you hear. You can hear, you type in Doubling Down, or you could type in We All Live on Avery Road, and it'll pop up, or you can type in Don't Get Strange, it'll pop up. So that's how you can find Stacy. It's, you know, I had some people asking me today, so I'll try to remember to get links in. You know, I'm always in such a hurry when I'm getting home and I'm trying to get ready. I, you know, don't get a chance to get like the links for certain things. And anyway, so let's see. Live show finally. Oh, I'm glad you could make it, Kathy. You're watching an old video, Andy. Cool. Right on. Stella, I don't have Stella's at the moment. I have Heineken. Good day, Erekose. Lots of clues going with KZ. Yeah, there is. And well, you saw it. The opening while Stacy's song was playing. That was what I'm going to be showing you. So we're going to be scrolling through and looking at some of the really good stuff there. So there you go. Thank you, Marissa. That is Stacy's channel right there, where you can go and check out the music. he has basically there's a playlist called the MAM Collection, and that's where he has all of his songs. I can also tell you that you can probably be expecting a little something from Stacy Seabrook pretty soon. He's I happen to know he was working on something, so it's going to be nice to see that come out because it's actually one of my favorites. So he was just retooling it a little bit and souping it up. So it's going to be pretty. I'm pretty excited. So, anyways, hey kiddo, everybody probably wants to say hi to you. Say hi, everybody. What's up, kiddo? So kiddo's hanging out with me here today in the studio. Don't walk on my keyboard, kiddo. No. Let's see here. Let's see. That would be awesome. No problem, kiddo. Let us know. Let us know when you get to the blood in the sink that Avery told us about. That gets mentioned a few times. Okay, so it'll come up when it comes up. Zellner's tweets, she made reference to Scott and Bobby being the only ones to see TH and SA being in the trailer. Is she saying that SA didn't interact with TH on the 31st? No, I think what she's saying is that the only accounts that Teresa went into the trailer is from Bobby. I don't think from Scott. Scott wasn't like there. Now, well, let me put it this way: he wasn't there at 2:30 when Teresa was supposed to be there. So he was. It's actually in these tweets said that he was supposedly at the salvage yard at noon. So that's the. But you know, we'll be going through the tweets now. So. Hello everybody, Tanya, Shona, Kathy, all of you. Let's see. Hey, Jerome Boudin's tweet from October 17th was deleted and he created a new one that same day. I retweeted that. Okay, so yeah, whichever one. But basically, yeah, you get the idea of what we're getting at. We want to try and create as much attention for the CIFS as possible. And I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you very much, because I really felt like that video that premiere was going to really get overshadowed by this. So I'm actually very, very glad that you brought that up. Thank you. By the way, you're more than helpful when it comes to providing links and have info, and I thank you, Marissa. Is Kiddo any sort of assassin? Oh, no, he'll leave the monkey alone. Let's see. Skinny the Smelter. The Rab ditched 3/10 of a mile from his trailer. Been yelling you all along. Oh, okay. You've been saying it was Scott all along. I think that's what you're saying anyway. How many years have you been following this case? 3. Well, 2 years and 11 months. 2 years and 10 months. 2 years and 10 months. Let's see. Yeah, remember to hit the like button, everybody, and share. What's up, buddy? Let's see. Battery, is this new? Sorry, been out of the loop for a while. Yes, the battery thing is new. That was one of the things that came out today. That was one of her little bombshells that she was dropping there on her little Twitter Q&A. That was one of them. The fact that Zellner's whole theory relies so heavily on the notion that there was blood in the sink is certainly a moment. Certainly, that's probably the most problematic part of her theory. I'll say that right off the bat. That is definitely the most problematic part of her theory. But the rest of it all seems so fitting. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens, I guess. We'll have to see where this all goes. This is why we need an evidentiary hearing, to sort this off all out. That's why it's necessary to have one. So I don't understand how people don't understand that Manitowoc is blocking this and Wisconsin is blocking this. The evidentiary hearing needs to happen because there's a significant amount of scientific evidence, and with the best experts in their field from around the world. It needs to be gone through. So, anyways, don't want to get too stuck here because I want to move on to the Twitter feed. So, I have to say many things are starting to click and make sense. All the puzzle pieces coming together. Yeah, I mean, you're starting to see more things kind of make sense and fit together. Why these odd things that we saw before that we just knew were freaking odd, but now we're starting to get some of the context of, around some of these things. So that's a good thing. Finally, a voice of reason. I just said it's the most problematic part of her theory. I mean, of course they are blocking it. They are duty bound to block it. Yeah, I suppose. Some would say that a prosecutor's duty, well, like, for instance, the Supreme Court of the United States would say a prosecutor's duty is justice and seeking justice, not convictions. So some might make a slightly different argument, I guess. So, anyway. Police commonly use Crown Vics. That's absolutely true. Of course, they're blocking it. Yeah, right. The police commonly use Crown Vics, right? KZ is not going to put anything out there she isn't 100% knowing. The blood in the sink was Steven's evidence. He said the blood was there and cleaned up he said it was cleaned up in the morning when he woke up. He said he didn't actually really go back in that night to the bathroom. I know people are going to be grossed out by this, but he just peed out in the yard and everything. And then he went in and went to bed. And when he woke up in the morning to take a shower, he noticed that the blood was no longer in the sink. Bob had a feeling Bobby gave her a call back. Steven didn't even notice the blood in his sink was clean. Yeah, so page 754 on Queso about the bullet. Yeah, I must apologize, Adrian, but I have not gone and looked at page 754 yet, and I'm just not sure what's on that page. It may be that I'm aware of it, but I just haven't had time. But here's the good news. I have a very short day at work tomorrow. So I am definitely going to be able to go live before Laura so we can do the live session about CIFs, which is what the premiere was earlier, if you remember. And so it looks like tomorrow I'll definitely be able to look at page 754 and because I don't remember what's on any given page just from the page number. And I've read so many documents. I'm sorry, I just don't know what's on 754 right now. Okay, queso bullet. Yeah. Okay, what about it? You know what? Fine. All right. Let's take a look at 754 together, shall we? Kitty drive me crazy. Hold on a second. I'm about to bring up 754, but Kiddo just messed up the screen here. Hold on. Oh my gosh. What did... Grief. Okay, so here we have it. Receipt of confidential report of laboratory findings from the Wisconsin State Crime Lab. Investigator Mark Wiegert on 5/11/06 received a report from the Wisconsin State Crime Lab. The results of the test indicate the bullet in item FL was fired from the Marlin rifle above Stephen's bed, is what that's saying basically. Which, as I've said before, if the reason why you're bringing this up is because you think the state was able to match that bullet to Stephen's gun, that's really not true. The state didn't even have the ability to analyze 22 rifles. 22, like, they didn't have ballistics testing for those kinds of small 22 bullets. They only had it for like bigger rifles. So the fact that they are even trying to claim that they've matched it is a problem. Should be noted the Wisconsin State Crime Lab had received this evidence on 11/21/05. Item FL would be one sealed paper bag containing the bullet. Item FK would be one sealed bag containing another bullet. Item DD would be one scaled box containing the 22 LR Martin Glenfield rifle. A copy of the lab report will be included in this report. So, yeah, is that what you were talking about? Well, I wasn't reading the chat. So what were we looking at? Sorry. Probably should have looked over here quicker. The date the magic bullet was found was listed as November 21st of 2005. Right. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. So I see what you guys are getting. I now I see what you're getting at. All right. Yeah. Because it certainly shouldn't have been found until March. So I wonder what's the story there. That is interesting. Yeah, that's a good catch. That's an excellent catch. Absolutely. Sorry that I hadn't gotten a chance to look into it sooner, but I guarantee you I would have looked into it tomorrow when I had time, because like I said, am going to have a lot of free time tomorrow. So let me get back to... Okay. Yeah, she is being a little bit of a bear today. That took a lot longer to bring up that document because she went and walked across my keyboard. Yeah, she does. She does want some attention. Carmen Beltwell was OD. Let's see. Are they sure they didn't find more than one? So much info, my brain is overloaded. Let's see. Oh, not a hug, Adrian. Let's see, Adrian. Can I get a hug from you? Hey, you're welcome. It's a good find, but like I said, you really seriously could have waited till tomorrow, and you didn't have to disrupt this entire live right now. But I felt bad because you'd asked me about it in a previous video, but just understand that when I have the time to get to things, I will get to them. I swear. Were there bones found in the quarry? Hint serial killer reference. The serial killer reference was because of a question that somebody asked. You know what? Let's just move into it now. So, the way this all starts off is Zellner created something like 19 or 20 tweets where she basically tweets like a sentence. Each one is like a sentence or like a, like a guideline or whatever, basically. So it starts out with the first one, which is on 10/31/05, Scott Taddick visited Bobby at the Avery Salvage Yard around noon. So about 12 o'clock on the 31st, he visited Bobby. And So, and she probably has like a some witness statement or something like that, and to allow her to claim that. After Teresa called the Dassey landline for directions, our suspect contacted her back with the Dassey address. Teresa arrived at the Avery salvage yard around 2:30 to 2:31 p.m. on 10/31/05. Only Bobby and Steven saw her. After completing her photo assignment, she left and turned west onto Highway 147 around 2:38 p.m. Our suspect followed her. Steven was in his trailer. Our suspect gets TH to pull over. She opened her car's rear cargo door to retrieve her camera, was knocked to the ground, and struck with an object. TH was put into the rear cargo area of the RAV4 and driven back to the Avery salvage yard. TH's RAV4 was spotted leaving the Avery salvage yard with an unknown driver at 3:45 p.m. Now that's interesting. And if I remember correctly, in the later tweet when she gets asked about it, she says she has 2 witness statements to attest to that. So so anyways, we'll see that later. But that's very interesting. The RAV4 was left by the old dam west of Mishicot on 10/31/05. 3 witnesses saw the RAV4 up to 11/4/05. Then it was gone. So basically, 3 witnesses saw that RAV4 before basically 11/4/05. So that's interesting. 3 witnesses to see it. Recent investigation shows the RAV4 battery died, so it was replaced in order to move the RAV4 to the Avery salvage yard. TH's body was burned in a burn barrel. Dassey burn barrel had human bones. 60% of bones and 31 teeth missing. A witness smelled horrible odor of something burning in Manitowoc County gravel pit the evening of 10/31/05. The Dassey garage was never luminoled or DNA tested. Bobby hung a deer in the Dassey garage on 11/4/05. Sikiki note: Body burned at smelter. Body burned at smelter 11/4/05, 3 a.m. Taddick worked the night shift as a smelter at the smelter facility. His nickname was Skinny. TH's electronics were not burned in Steven's burn barrel. They were burned in the Dassey burn barrel. Suspect knew Steven's finger rebled on 11/3/05 because he observed it. Suspect had access to Steven's trailer to remove blood from the sink. Only our suspect knew the blood in the sink was Steven's and not TH's. This rules out the police. Suspect planted blood in RAV4, bones in Steven's burn pit, and TH's electronics in Steven's burn barrel. In conclusion, the killer is the person who had the access to the property to plant Stephen Avery's fresh blood in Teresa Halbach's car. Use hashtag Ask Zellner for questions. So, some of the good ones here. Let's see. So, this one is, has Bobby's garage been searched for DNA and blood? The answer is yes, in progress. So, that's happening. Let's see here. Let's see. Is there any evidence on if Bobby and Scott had contact with Ryan before the killing? And Zellner says no proof of that. How do we know Scott was at Avery salvage yard at noon? And she says witness confirms. Let's see. How do you know it was replaced? Speaking of the battery, we've confirmed that it was replaced with the wrong size battery for the RAV4, the same size battery that is used in Crown Victorias. Which somebody did already bring up that those are used in police cars, and they absolutely are. Crown Victorias tend to be police vehicles. Let's see here. How do we know the battery died? Because it was replaced with the wrong size battery and it was still under warranty. Nothing was burned in Stephen Avery's burn barrel. Tin cans and vegetation present. Redant saw a fire in the Dassey burn barrel. Have you had access to the RAV4 yet? No. This is an issue on appeal. So basically, this is something she's trying to get as the appeal continues. All right. Whoops. Okay, so I'm gonna explain the bullet date again. Probably show a few more tweets, and we'll see where we're at that point. So here we go again with the bullet, the date of it. You have to realize that the bullet was original. You know, how did they find the bullet? You have to ask yourself that. Oh yeah, because of Brendan Dassey's interview. So Brendan Dassey's interview is what led them into the garage again, or at least what allowed them to get a warrant to get into the garage again, and that's when they found the bullet, and that's on March 2nd or March 3rd. So the fact that item FL is showing up in evidence on November 21st, 4.5 months before it should be, is, you know, or 2.5 months, whatever, 3 months essentially before it should be, that is odd. It shouldn't be. Item FL should not be getting logged in November because it's not found until March, right? So that's the significance of that, and that's why it's odd to see that date of 11/21. Sorry if I didn't explain that fully before. So, but basically, yeah, that bullet was found in March. So how the heck is it being in an investigation report? You know, it says that was found on the 21st of November. It makes no sense. Let's see here. I wish I had $1 for every question mark I've seen in these discussions. Good point about the warranty on the battery. Yeah, with a warranty, you have to put the name on the warranty papers. Just like a certain RAV being called in before it was found. Yeah, exactly. It's like things showing up before they should, and in the paperwork. It's like Zellner was saying in MAM2. Switch back to here for a second. It was like Zellner was saying in MAM2 that you know, it was, damn it, lost my train of thought. Kitty. Hold on. Yeah, right. So exactly, things being called in before they're found. So with, you know, you got the RAV4 that's being taken. There's a piece of paperwork that shows that it was taken into custody on 11/3, and things like that all over the investigation, which Zellner brought up because she says you can go into the investigation documents in this case and they're telling on themselves. They're just, if you sit down and read them, they tell on themselves and they tell you exactly what they did. And she's right, because that's what's coming out of these investigation reports. Is they're essentially, you know, that's a very, you know, significant thing that Adrian found. It's really truly is. I mean, I'm now sitting here thinking about that, going, yeah, how are they going to explain that one away, or how are they going to try to explain that one away? Because that's actually pretty crazy. Because I mean, it's without a doubt was found in March, so how it's getting logged in on 11/21 is just beyond. Explain the bullet. I've been been in DX with cancer and struggling with exhaustion. I'm so sorry, Kiyomi. The evidence number represents it was from November. I'm confused by that. Well, the date that they're saying it was dropped off to the lab, they're saying that the bullet was dropped off, bullet item FL was dropped off to the laboratory on November 21st. But it couldn't be. It was found on March 2nd or 3rd, what day they went back into the garage. So there's no possible way it could have been getting logged into evidence in November. That's just a bizarre thing right there. Very bizarre. So I'm finding it hard to keep up lately. I'm sorry, Kiyomi. I'm doing my best. It was just there was a few things being said at that moment in time that were a little bit anyways. Sorry about that, Kiyomi, but that's why it's significant. It's just because the bullet had no business being there in November because it wasn't found until March. So. Zellner is saying she was burnt in 2 locations. Surely they would have found blood, or so they would have found blood, or so if they searched Stephen's trailer area. Well, there should have been some, suggestion of a crime taking place or a brutal murder taking place, but there isn't really. Yeah, I know all this stuff is hard. I mean, hey, look, I've been accumulating all this stuff over, like I said, about 2 years and 10 months. So, I do understand. I just was, Greg says it was the test bullet. It was the test bullet. But it's item FL. I don't understand how item FL could be a test bullet. That I don't know how that would work. It's item FL. It's the slug found in March. I'm not sure. You might have to explain that one a little more. From the Dietering audio video, so the Dassey computer had photos of Stephen and Teresa on a folder named Hallbach and a folder named DNA. Yeah, there was that was something that was in the computer, and Dietering was asking about it. Dogs hit on Cuss Road. He's talking about the hood latch. Sounds like you're David. It sounds like you're creating your own misery. Nobody was even talking about that. Let's see here. Someone should have asked her whose name is on the warranty papers for the battery. I doubt she would have answered it. She was being kind of, I don't know. She was being kind of like dodgy in her answers. Like she was trying to like give people the gist of what she has, but without being really super specific, is kind of the way it struck me when I go through them. Tony, you can't collect DNA from from sweat only, blood, fingerprints, urine, yeah. Someone please Google Crown Vic battery and RAV4 battery. One battery can be 2 posts, and one can be a side post. There's no such thing as sweat DNA. Yes, of course. Thought the magic bullet was FL87. You may be right, Greg. I'm not sure. See, that's what I'm talking about. They don't say, no, I've never heard it referred to as FL87. I've only ever heard it referred to as item FL. Yeah, exactly, item FL. That's why I pointed it out, so you could explain to him, because he keeps repeating it. Maybe it was one thing to get turned into something else a few months later. This bullet, LOL, changing the evidence. Yeah. Talk about the battery. It's the key. The batteries are completely different. And the end of that. Yeah, I mean, what are you going to say? The batteries, it's the wrong battery. I mean, what more are you going to say? There's a Crown Vic battery in a RAV4. I mean, and who drives Crown Vics, especially back in 2005 when they were still being used a lot, before the police agency started switching over to more of these like SUV type vehicles, and in like the Dodge, there's like a Dodge car that they like to use now or whatever, one of the kind of cheaper model of Dodges, but it's actually pretty solid, I guess. So, but they've been changing and getting into new things. But back in 2005, there were still a lot of Crown Vics around, and that was like the car that law enforcement used. So that is odd. Zellner cannot show all her cards. She will risk witness being tampered with and threatened. Yeah, exactly. She has to play things kind of close to the vest. Maria, look up DNA testing. There is only testing for those 4 sample types, only not sweat. Yeah, sweat doesn't have DNA, but sometimes sweat can have skin cells in it, and the skin cells can have DNA. But just because you have sweat does not mean you have DNA. I wonder if BOD and Carmen were known to each other, and as well the other girl missing in the sketch looking like BOD, and the words that KZ used today, serial killer. Yeah, but didn't somebody else use it first? So I'm going to go back to the Twitter feed. Are we sure that it was the RAV4 seen leaving at 3:45? This was Blaine's account of what happened, but he now says it wasn't the RAV, as I understand. To which Zellner says, we have 2 other witnesses. So, let's see. We have had, let's see. Oh. Let's see. Have you done any background checks into Bobby Dassey, interviewing people? And she basically says, yeah, we've had experts evaluate the violent porn and create a profile. So to answer your serial killer thing, yeah, she created a profile. So that goes along with the mentioning serial killers. Because the contact with Teresa requesting the address is made close to the point in time when he's present. Because the contact with Teresa requesting the address is made. Oh, okay, I see. What's the significance of Taddick at noon that day? Okay, so right. So what's the significance of Scott Taddick being at Avery Salvage at noon? It's just because it shows contact. Because of the contact with Teresa requesting the address is made so close to that point in time when he was present. So it creates the ability to look at it and say, you know, maybe he was the one that made the call to inform Teresa what the address was, and therefore would have known she was coming, would have, you know, all those things. So it's just foundational, I think. Is there any evidence of a body being burned at the smelting facility? A witness who wrote the note, but the body would have disintegrated. So she doesn't believe that it was burnt. She doesn't believe the body was burned at the smelter. See, can you speculate as to the motive of the suspect? It was a rage killing motivated by rejection. I'm wondering where she gets that from. Let's see what else. What is the significance? Right, we saw that. Has the suspect been questioned on this? He was questioned in a lame interview with investigator Dietering. What's the best explanation to the scratches on Bobby's back? They are inconsistent with scratches from a puppy, consistent with scratches from fingers of a human hand. Would Bobby have access to Stephen's blood? Yes, he had access to Stephen's blood because he had access to Stephen's trailer on 11/3/05. Who gave Teresa directions, and how did they know to give it to her. We believe the killer gave TH directions. Yeah, let's see here. Just find some fun. A lot of questions about the smelter, which she seems to be dismissing, really. So was this the day the same? Was this the same burn barrel they found bones in on Stephen Avery's property, or is this a whole new burn barrel? And she says, same burn barrel. Do you know where the missing 60% of the body is located? We believe that it was disposed of at the smelter. Okay, so no, she does believe the smelter was involved. Just trying to go through a few more of these here. Motive was rage fueled by rejection. She said, so that she answered that one twice. If the suspect confessed officially, how quickly could Stephen Brendan be released? The confession would have to be corroborated. It's impossible to know how long it would take. Have you traced who changed the battery or owned the battery that was put in the car? Yes. So she knows. She knows who. She's been able to trace it, and she knows who bought the battery. So that's interesting. Or she knows where it came from. Let's see here. If Bobby pursued Teresa, how come nobody knew and stepped forward during the trial? Bobby was the state's star witness. That's fair enough. Denny said, let's see. Are you now ruling out the ex-boyfriend suspect? If so, what's the explanation for him having TH's handwritten day planner? A Denny suspect can be involved in the crime or the cover-up, so we have not ruled him out. So Brian is not ruled out. Hadn't TH taken photos for the Avery Dassies previously? Why would she need to call for an address and directions? Well, she only had the name of Barb Yonda, so that's why. She was only given the Dassey phone number and not the address, right? So she's basically explaining that. Would Bobby have hung the deer in the garage to conceal TH blood, or is it likely that she was dismembered elsewhere? Bobby's story is inconsistent as to when he hung the deer, making it highly suspicious that he had an ulterior motive for hanging it. So she's saying, circumstantially speaking, she thinks he was involved, basically. If the Dassey garage gets tested and TH was in there, do you think it would still be possible to find traces of blood in there? Of course, DNA lasts for years, and blood is very difficult to clean up. And that was pretty much it. So, there we go. So, that is basically her fleshing out her theory in a lot of ways. Obviously, still holding a little bit back, but in a lot of ways, she's fleshing it out. This thing about the battery is very interesting, as you know, some of the people were chomping about earlier. And she knows who, because of the warranty information. She knows who got that battery, and that is interesting. I can't wait till she files. When she eventually files, we'll be able to probably read. There'll probably be like affidavits and stuff like that from these witnesses that we can read. I wonder if BOD and Carmen, let's see. Hold on here. Sorry, let me just check this here real quick. The blood cannot even be an issue at trial if evidence links to another killer. That creates reasonable doubt that SA blood was planted. Doesn't matter how, right? Steven himself said the blood was all over the sink. Jay, I agree. If KZ doesn't have access to the RAV, how does she know? How does she know it was switched? Has she said it was switched? I don't recall her saying it was switched. Maybe she did, but I don't recall her saying that. And she will, Falcon, otherwise she wouldn't be stating it. I'm sure KK has a perfectly good lie for all this new evidence. Oh, I'm sure Ken Kratz has already, got all the answers. Brennan, why would Scott give Bobby access to his property if they weren't friends? Yeah. And if Scott was showing up on Avery Salvage Yard at noon to come and talk to Bobby, that kind of shoots that whole theory about the fact that Scott was new around there and that the Dassey boys didn't really like him. It seemed like him and Bobby were interacting. I don't know. Probably the paperwork on the RAV. On the top of the battery is a sticker that gives the install date and the place it was installed with the product number and ID number. Yeah, but what about people that go down to the store and buy a battery and put it in themselves? This is very interesting tweet, in my opinion. KZ doesn't refute Bobby and the question we've had about being the serial killer. Yeah, where is that one? Hold on, let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, I'm not finding that serial killer tweet. Let me see if I can hit. Okay, this is the one that Marissa wanted to talk about. So, the question is: Bobby is now married with children, living a seemingly normal life since Teresa's murder. Are you aware of anything that suggests that he still fits that profile? And she said that's irrelevant. Most serial killers are married with children, living normal lives, and that is actually pretty true. Many serial killers were, fairly normal, dudes with families. John Wayne Gacy, even the Green River Killer in Seattle. There's a lot of these guys actually had families and stuff. It's just very, very, it's bizarre, but it's a true statement. So, that was the one that Marissa wanted to see. And the whole corner thing, geez, this could have been botched any worse. Why are you all worried about a battery out of all those tweets? And that's the one that pops out to you? Come on. Falcon, why don't you try to change our minds, since you seem to think that all these anomalies don't mean anything? Right. Zellner, Zellner seriously loating the idea that BD is serial. You mean BOD is serial killer? Anyway, also has kids and was married. KZ seems to meet the initial requirement of reasonable doubt, but what is the standard of appeals? Not sure. I don't know how to answer that question for you. Like I say, I learn as these things go along as myself, and I'm not sure exactly how the appeals process is going to play out. I imagine something like, hopefully, They're just going to order an evidentiary hearing instead of sending it back down to a judge to whatever, to decide. I think they're just going to send it down and say, have an evidentiary hearing, hopefully. Is she seriously saying that Bobby Dassey is a serial killer? I look, they're her words on the screen. I guess is the answer to that. Yeah. Thank you for looking at the page. Oh, you're welcome, Adrian. Mistake or violation of Constitution or new evidence. Mistake or violation of Constitution or new evidence, right? Because if she is, then we're now in crazy town. That's your opinion, Falcon. I mean, you seem to think your opinion is the last word, and that everybody in the world should just fall in line with your opinion. I think you're delusional, to be perfectly honest. Anyways. Worked the third shift. KZ said the communication with TH was not done by phone. What are your thoughts on that? In 2005, I don't know, it could have been a text. Trying to think what else. I mean, I know Teresa had a Palm Pilot, and stuff like that. So I imagine she had ability to do that sort of thing. I'm not sure. Like I said, she's keeping it all close to the vest right now because, well, like somebody else pointed out, she's probably protecting witnesses and that sort of stuff. She's proving the state should have been looking at more people than Stephen. Absolutely. She's not saying he is, but there are things that are in his past that could make one think perhaps he has a history starting here. Probably from the paperwork details. Paperwork details that was taken from the RAV, what include the battery type and data, date, etc. Yeah. Maybe text or email. The images, graphic content on the Dassey computer tells a lot of what was going on in his head. Yeah, there's certainly something to that. I apologize to everyone. I just realized I have been typing BD instead of BOD. Definitely didn't mean Brendan. Okay, good. I'm glad you cleared that up. I apologize to everyone. Falcon, she just left it open. All she said was serial killers have had families. Right. She didn't really... Somebody else brought up, well, I mean, I guess, she did, but in a way she was trying to say, I mean, think about it. Somebody was sitting there going, he's a family and kids and da. And so she immediately goes, okay, lots of horrible people in history have had families. So like that was, I think, just her way of answering it in a way. Whether she's suggesting Bobby's a serial killer or not is obviously up for debate. But it could just be that she was trying to give an answer to that question that is plausible. Falcon, there's a lot of missing girls. KZ said the communication with TH was not done by phone. I just gave thoughts on that. Clearly you have burden of proof reversed. Falcon. There's actually a Reddit post from 2 years ago discussing issues with the battery being wrong. I wouldn't be surprised. Those people on Reddit, man, they dig into everything. I mean everything. I'm friends with a few people there. I've gotten so many cool like old articles that could help link up little things and stuff from some of those Redditors. They're phenomenal, man. They're research monsters. I think KZ meant that they are talking on the computer. Oh, that could very well be. That's actually a very good point, Marissa. Amber, you can send me a link on FB if you have it. Picture is crazy, and that tattoo is the same. My daughter blew that tattoo up. We need moderators to delete trolling. What was the tattoo? I love your videos. So much information. Proven with facts. Thankfully, I'm a stay-at-home mom now since MAM2. So yes, I've almost watched every video of yours. I highly recommend everyone to watch them too. Oh, thank you so much, Maria. Where is the info coming from that Ryan H had the book? I remember it come out a few months ago, but perhaps this is a pull and distraction. It was part of one of her motions, one of Casey's motions when she was filing for post-conviction relief. It was the proof of it from a DOJ report was attached to one of her amendments or her whatever she was filing back in 2017. So it was with one of those, and I remember seeing it and reading it. It clearly says that Ryan told Tom Fassbender, that, and there was also the thing about the day planner page. It's all there. It's there. And the fact that she knows BOD had contact before the 31st. Yep, I have said this before. Bobby was obsessed with TH and killed her because she refused to take photos of his blazer, and out of jealousy because she helped Steven. Possibly. Falcon, you need to realize that you're not going to change our mind on his innocence any more than we are going to change yours. Move along. I just found it interesting she didn't say we have no reason to believe TH's death is the work of a serial killer. Sure. Yeah, she didn't actually say that. I mean, I'm just saying she's being very coy with her answers. And she's doing that on purpose because she doesn't want people trying to hold her to some very definitive statements she made on Twitter, right? So if she keeps them a little cryptic but gets the gist across, nobody from the prosecution can try to use these things to really pin her down later, like if so that she's just trying to play it. She's playing it just a little bit where she's not being super definitive. And I think that's done on purpose, and I think it's important. Casey community was off the phone. What else was used back in 2005? Well, as Marissa was saying, it was probably a computer. I know I'm not going to change a single mind here. I realize that fully. Yes, I'm wondering why the word serial killer is coming up here. Also, to let casual passersby know that there are other points of view. That's fine, Falcon. I'm fine with that. Thinking the same, his team. Falcon, we know. Okay, Falcon. There was email, text, fax, call, instant messaging. Wasn't there MySpace also? Yes, and as far as communication, yeah. So there was like computer-based stuff. That's probably a good bet. Why does everyone seems and looks so guilty except Steven and Brendan in the trials? I know, right? Let's see here. TH Live, Scott, Police Plant, Ryan Blodorn, Hallbach equals cover, Carmen equals bones, Bobby equals sicko, police blackmailed because of his past, all to get Steven. Holy crap. That legit. RH had the book. Well, he had that page from the day planner. I don't know what book you're referring to. Doesn't that mean RH did it? It means that he's a suspect. BOD asked TH out and she blew him off and he reacted with anger. That's basically what Zellner was suggesting. It was rage, a rage murder fueled by rejection. So she files on December 20th. Probably lots of human bones in that quarry. Yeah, they say other bodies were in there at certain points. Didn't someone say they found different bones at the quarry? Do you think the fire with horrible odor she mentions in Manitowoc County gravel pit on 10/31/05 was the Xander Road fire? No. She's actually mentioning a different fire. I've somehow have missed this account of a foul-smelling fire at Manitowoc County gravel pit, or it's only in the DOJ reports, which she has access to, or the DCI reports. I don't know, but I never came across that. But maybe it's there. You know, I mean, it's possible, I guess, that if there's an account of a foul-smelling fire at Manitowoc gravel pit, then I may have missed it, but I just never heard of it. We will just have to wait. Did I miss a response, or did she address the pelvic bone in the quarry? I didn't see that tweet in the feed that I was going through here, but it might be if I went through her tweets and replies and bored the hell out of everybody here and made them hate me. We could probably find it. I think I've already taxed everybody's patience enough by looking up 2 documents tonight, so I think I'll steer clear of that. I was reviewing Karen Hallbach 911 call today and how she states Scott B saw Teresa on the 31st, which sounds like she made it home, and that's what Ryan had, and that's why Ryan had the day planner. But then how's ST and BOD the killers? Well, sorry. Well, Zellner, I think, is just calling Ryan a person of interest right now. I'm not sure she's really calling him. I think she's really considering him more of an evidence planter, or a helper with the framing. But that could all change as more evidence comes up. I mean, there's enough strange things going on around this case that anything could change at any time. The right piece of evidence pops up and throws a bunch of other evidence into question, and you know what I mean. So I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything answered about the pelvic bone question. I remember reading about the TH day planner being in the TH car. Exactly. She never went home, so it should have been in her car. So how did Ryan end up with it? If she had proof he was a serial killer. Yeah, moving on from the serial killer thing, it's really not important. Chad Huckabee, what's up at Erekose? Did you see KZ talk about the Sikaki letter today? Very interesting. Yeah, she was basically saying that Scott is his nickname at the Foundry, or the smelter Foundry, was Skinny, and it's been pretty well established at this point that all those workers at the Foundry are pretty much illiterate or have very little ability to read and write, and that the reason why it looks like Sikaki is because the person writing it just had such bad penmanship that Skinny ended up looking like Sikaki. So that's what she's basically stating. We have no idea who the real killer is. LOL. Really, Woodward? That's what you think KZ is saying? I don't think that's what she's saying. She did not speak about the bones today. Well, she did. Yeah, she did. She talked about how 60% of them and 32 teeth are missing. She said a couple things about the bones. When I went through it. Anyway. If they don't find blood or DNA in the Dassey garage, won't change Kathleen's whole theory. Won't that change Kathleen's whole theory? I don't think so, because so many other things click into place. What are you apologizing for, Adrian? Read all the Q&A and didn't read about a pelvic bone. 60% of bones and 31 teeth. Exactly. For those interested, here's a link to Karen Hallbach's 911 reported call. Yep. No, we need to have patience. You just gave us a little taste of medicine of all the time it has taken you to put all this together for us. Thank you so much, Maria. I appreciate that. I really do. Do you think KZ will have a hard time using the witness statements convincingly in her brief since so much time has passed, or maybe multiple corroborations will help. Yeah, I think she has multiple witnesses for one thing, so that's going to help. And like I said, as she continues to pound at the door, and the sense in what her science is saying begins to just permeate, eventually I think it's going to swing the doors open. No matter what, eventually the doors are going to swing open and she's going to get in. So it's, I think it's just a waiting game. Patience, as Maria was saying. Drew, hey buddy. I was wondering where you were. How's it going, Drew? Hey, I'm sorry that it took me a little longer to get your shirt to you, buddy. I'm sorry. I really am sorry about that. But it's on its way. You got it coming. Do you think KZ will have a hard time using the witness statements convincingly? Right, as I was saying. Let's see. So I am hoping this battery will be the new evidence for a new trial. It'll be part of her. I mean, you got to imagine she's like making a mosaic, right? To present, right? So it's like all these little things that connect up and click together and work together and make a bigger picture, right? So that's why I say a mosaic. And that's kind of what she's doing. So all these little things are going to work together because they all click and link and fit in with each other and explain and come up with a far more, believable narrative than the state ever came close to. So, makes for a shower to pursue Teresa. Yeah, I agree. The whole thing about him taking that quick shower has always been odd anyway. Zellner told you all today who did it, why, and how. Case closed. Okay, Jay, thanks. What is a smelter plant? It was like a foundry. So they like if it's a foundry, so they usually would be casting metal, heating up metal and pouring it into molds or casts so that they can make certain shapes of metal and that sort of thing. That's generally what a foundry does. First time here. What's your take on Barb? Did she know all of this? I am not sure what Barb knew or didn't know, but I am damn certain that she was bullied, pushed around, and manipulated all throughout pretty much every part of this. And was overwhelmed, in a sea of investigators and public officials and people that could do her serious harm. And she was overwhelmed, and yeah. I wonder if that trial judge, all the jurors think about all this new information. Yeah, I imagine some of them. But the ones that were like, Manitowoc County clerks and one that was a father of a sheriff and stuff like that, those ones will never change. They will most likely, like Ken Peterson, to this day, thinks that Stephen Avery still raped Penny Burnson, right? That's probably the way those particular jurors are going to be. Do you think you're closer to get the killer will? Do you think the closer they get, the killer will speak up? Possibly. I mean, I think she is trying to rattle, who she thinks did it. A smelter is a big hot kiln that melts down aluminum at a metal foundry. Correct. Every lawyer loses a case. Maybe this is the one she finally loses. You have your own kind of. I like that actually. Before that got deleted, I actually kind of like that. That for a guilter or somebody that believes that they're guilty, that was actually a glass half full kind of statement. I like that. That was actually pretty good. I appreciated that statement, Falcon. Before it got deleted. Let's see here. What if they find more than one person's DNA in the garage? Well, they're most likely going to find more than one person's DNA in the garage. Wishful thinking again, Falcon. I know what KK thinks. KK thinks that all the evidence KZ is finding. Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a case closed, bud. Zellner has enough to get Brendan and Stephen free and prosecute the killers. I hope they prove the truth about who did it. It's hard to say. I almost think Ryan did it, and they had so much dirt on Bobby, it wasn't hard to get him to say what they want. Yeah? If Zellner is really going to rely on the notion that there was blood in that sink for someone to plant, then she's in a lot of trouble here. Okay, it's your opinion, Falcon. Problem is that so much, almost virtually every other part of her theory seems to work so well. So when you got everything else working so well, it could be that she hasn't quite figured out the blood planting yet. But when everything else is already pointing in the direction, you're trying to look at one little minute point and say, oh, that validates everything. Invalidates it all. It's all irrelevant because I don't see how this is possible. This one tiny little thing. That's what you're saying, Falcon. That's what you're saying. This tiny, tiny little aspect of it's wrong. So it's all bunk. It's all garbage. It means she's probably in the process of figuring it out still. And it may be that some proof will emerge. Because look at what's emerging, buddy. People are calling her. She now has 2 witness statements that placed Scott Taddick at the salvage yard. This is not going well for the state. You can spin it however you want, but this is not going well for the state. I'm thinking Barb was given certain promises. We never do see her interviews. She wasn't even a character witness for her own son. Okay. She already rattled him. He is on the run. I was sad to hear Brad Dassey's account of why he was not allowed to see her baby brother. Seems like a real gem. Erekose, I have to say that your videos are so great. I really appreciate the time you spend making them. Much love from Sweden. Oh, thank you so much, Suzanne. See, I'm out. Not feeling so great. Thank you once again, Erekose. We'll see you, Ziggy. Sorry you're not feeling so well. Thank you, Kiyomi. We're currently trying not to do super chats. Just so you know. It looks like YouTube might be softening up because I was able to appeal the other night on the live that they were messing with me on, and they remonetized it immediately. So it may be that YouTube's going to stop messing with me, and if they do, I'll go ahead and okay everybody to do super chat again, if they want. But we were trying to stay away from it, just so you know, Kiyomi. But thank you so much. I do appreciate the thought. Absolutely, I appreciate the thought. So thank you so much. I haven't been drinking during the videos anymore either, but I'll certainly enjoy one afterwards. And we can all sit here in the chat and talk afterwards. I've been, the last few lives and the last few premieres that I've been doing, after they end, I've been sitting in here with like 7, 8 other people, and we've been chatting. One night we chatted till like 1 in the morning. So you guys can sit around, and when I'm off camera, I'll have a beer with you. Let's see, if you need to donate, use the PayPal. Right. I often doubt this blood. Trying, but she can't. So I tried the other one, then decided to try my Android rather than iPad, and the link worked. Big thanks. Okay. Cool. Block Falcon. No, Falcon's fine. Falcon is just butthurt. That is why. Basically, Falcon sees the writing on the wall and just doesn't want to admit it. And doesn't want to, accept what's coming out. So, I get it, Falcon. The blood is the most problematic part for Zellner, but everything else is really, really solid. So, thank you for coming here every night and providing us with all the information and place to discuss. Absolutely. It's my pleasure, Shona. So sorry, Erekose. I wasn't aware about super chat. I know. That's why I'm just letting you know. I appreciate it. I so appreciate it, Kiyomi. Thank you so much. I do. I just wanted to go ahead and say it again so that more people get aware. I may go ahead if YouTube stops messing with me and just stops being jerks, then I will go ahead and say, if you guys want to do super chat, go ahead. I was a little bit peeved that YouTube was taking 30% of the money from you guys, and then they were giving me grief on my channel. So I was getting a little bit pissed. I was getting a little bit, disgruntled, as it were. So, so that's why we were all halting the super chat. But if YouTube lightens up and decides to play nice with me and honor the agreement that we entered into when I created this channel, then we have no problems. And I'll gladly super chat again. Okay. Was Barb trying to save Bobby from the police and ultimately lost Brendan? That is a theory that certainly isn't too far out. Hey Travis, there you are, buddy. I was wondering where you went last night. 19 points to digest. Let's see. David, someone sent him money through Super Chat. And I'm reminding people, if you're going to send him money, to do it through PayPal. Exactly. Hey people, I'm late as usual. Hi Ayasha. I'm not blocking anyone unless they insult Mom, Pa, Avery. That's a good reason. Repeated comments that are wasting time will be deleted. That's good. Not just Falcon. Bobby already looked bad from the computer. Yeah. Sent money via PayPal enough for 2 beers. Oh, thank you so much, Spicy Melody. Not if she has more evidence to link to someone in the murder. Did anyone start a fundraiser for Mom, Pa, Avery? Tony Cheek, what there is the salvage yard is selling an array of merchandise, various hoodie sweaters, various t-shirts, hats, bumper stickers. The newest t-shirt is the We All Live on Avery Road t-shirt, which I was wearing in a video like 2 days ago. And on the front it says free, big red letters, it says free, and then it has smaller letters of Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey over the free, and then on the back it says We All Live on Avery Road. But like I said, they also have like hoodie sweaters that have like the Avery Yard, the salvage yard's logo on them, and stuff like that. And you can go to that website. It's actually in the information below there. Support the family by buying their clothing, and that is the way to support the family. They're not starting any GoFundMe's. They're not doing any of those things. This is the way to support the family if you want to do it. So that's how you do it. Because I have nothing but nice things to say about Mom and Pa Avery. That's good. That's very good, Falcon. YouTube messes with many channels, not just yours. I know they do. For me, it was just a matter of, if they're going to mess with me, then I don't think they should get 30% of my subscribers' money. That was just my way of looking at it. And my subscribers seem to agree with me. So, I can't make people not do it. So all I can do is ask, and they honored my request. So I got to say, I love all you. You're all awesome. So, it's absolutely, it's absolutely wonderful that we were able to, hopefully make a little blip. Hello, just see as caught you. Seriously, if any of my comments are being deleted, then I'll just go away. As Marissa said, they won't be deleted unless they're repetitive. I fell asleep searching for definition of possession. Okay, I figured you probably fell asleep. We were up pretty late the night before that chatting on the video, right? So, anyways, Fox Hills is where the conspiracy was carried out. Definitely, there was some conspiracy going on there. What family gets the money? Who in family? The guy that runs the website is the guy that makes the t-shirts, he sells them and does all that for them, and then like every month, from whatever the sales are, he goes over and he takes a check over to Avery Salvage Yard, and it gets used for the everyday operations of the business, also for Mom and Pa Avery, whatever it might need, whatever they might need around the yard, and it's a huge help. It's a huge help because they haven't been doing as well since this whole thing went down with Teresa Hallbach and this whole thing. They were doing pretty well at that time, and then all of a sudden this whole Teresa Hallbach thing happened, and so they haven't been so flush. So being able to go and buy these t-shirts, it allows you to get something from your money, and allows you to show your support and all that, and then they also get something, and then that way we don't have to create GoFundMes, right? And then we don't have a bunch of pirates out there, or a bunch of jerks out there creating a bunch of GoFundMes and saying that they're the Avery Fund when they are actually not, right? So we skip that problem by the way that the Averys have chosen to do this. By you buy their merchandise and it helps them, and then you get something out of it too. So that's the best way to do it. Falcon. Zellner has me confused with her findings. What kind of relationship does Scott have with Bobby? Well, that's what was getting kind of fleshed out in the Twitter feed today. Apparently, they were talking a bit more than what was said. I mean, they were. What I had heard previously was that Scott and the boys didn't get along. They didn't like Scott and whatever. But yet, there's Scott showing up at noon at the salvage yard that day and talking to Bobby. So, yeah, it's interesting. Falcon, only a couple have been, and they were rhetorical ones. Bedbug at Fox Hills. Falcon talk, invite more. Running Fox, they aren't cuss words. Fair enough. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Marissa. Does Zellner have ever addressed BOD calling out TH as SA's girlfriend? Well, yeah, she did in the article that I was talking about last night and the night before. In that article, she talked about it. What does your t-shirt say? Oh, this is one of my Dr. Pepper shirts. Yeah, good idea. Enough fraud going on, absolutely. Hope KZ and ST and Bobby's deer knives. Blood can hide under the handles, absolutely. I wonder what BD thinks about Zellner going after his brother. I don't even know what Brendan knows about that, actually. His parents have done 25 plus years with him, and it's awful, right? Brad Dassey has a very low opinion of Scott and his rage. I think Scott's anger gets the better of him, too. That's something that I've always noticed about Scott. His anger gets the better of him. He could really do with keeping a cooler head, certainly. Did my Wi-Fi suck out again? Damn it, video froze here. Oh, I don't know. It's not frozen for me. Do you think BD will finally and forcefully sing like a canary to protect his family from Zellner? Oh my God, you are really, really desperate, Falcon. Jeez, you're desperate for a way out of this, huh? I'm sorry, Falcon, but that's the way your statements are coming off. I mean, they smack of desperation. I love Dr. Pepper too. Oh, cool, Michelle. Can you talk a little bit about the battery? I've been talking about the battery. What do you want me to say about the battery? It's okay. So RAV4s have batteries, and Crown Victorias have batteries, but Crown Victoria batteries don't tend to go into RAV4s. So Zellner has found out that Crown Victoria battery that was in the RAV4 had warranty, and she actually said in the tweets today that she has tracked down the person. She was able to find out who it tracked back to. She didn't say who, but she said she found out. So that's the interesting thing about the battery. There's not much else to say about it other than the fact that it proves that somebody was, most likely there was a dead battery there and somebody had to throw another battery in there so that they could get the thing to turn over and start it so that they could move it. So that's the significance of the battery. It shouldn't be a Crown Vic battery. It should be something else. Crown Vic battery is for a big luxury liner car. Crown Victorias are big, heavy cars. The RAV4, I would think, would need a much smaller cell. So anyways, the point is that it's not the battery that's supposed to be in the RAV4. And she has said she's traced it back to the person who it came from. She didn't say the name, but she has traced it. No, nothing. That was David. Not too late. Proven to find blood 30 years later. Good point. I would love to know how Brendan feels about all the new evidence. E3 Michelle. Dr. Pepper is the bomb. I love Dr. Pepper too. You guys are awesome. Let's see. Desperation is a clear sign of blatant disregard of facts, similar to what is seen repeatedly by the far left politicians. Bring something other than flat earth comments to the table, Falcon. I don't understand why they had referred to the RAV4 as being green several times, but in the evidence photos it looks blue. And a lot of people have pointed that out. A lot of people have said it's just lighting because of the way that these new paints work nowadays with these metallic paints and stuff. And so there's a lot of discussion that goes around the color changing. She called the schedule not to ask for directions. Thank you very much for explaining that. By implication, the battery wasn't changed by TH. Yeah, I would say that by implication, I would say it wasn't probably wasn't TH. Because, yeah, I mean, yeah, it would seem more logical that it was whoever that the RAV4 battery was dead, and that somebody had to put another battery in it so that they could move it. So definitely. We can find DNA years later, but how do we know without access to the RAV? Well, patience, Running Fox. Patience. Be patient. I'm sure she's gonna get her hands on that RAV4. I'm sure. Eventually she's gonna be getting her hands on that thing. Mystic Teal. If that's true, that a different battery was in fact in the RAV, and it was even traced, that would be a bombshell for Team Avery against the state. Exactly. If they trace it back to especially if it traces back to like Colburn or Link or some other deputy maybe at Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department. Yeah, that'll be interesting indeed. Unless she confronts with the evidence and becomes witness. Sorry, far-right politicians have bizarre thinking as well. I think let me just say something here. I think the far left, the extreme left, and I think the extreme right are freaking crazies. Okay? If you think if you're that far out that you think there's only one answer, and I don't care which side you're on. Don't give a damn which side you're on. But if you're that far out, yeah, you're crazy. You're crazy. Sorry, but that's just the way I feel about it. I think middle of the road is a little bit more sensible. But anybody that's, that thinks the sun shines out of their political party's butt, yeah, that's not helpful. My husband had a teal colored truck. Can you talk about the photographer who was, can't tell how many times. Yeah, the color change. Right. Blue, green. Right. So you understand, Michelle, what it's getting at there. Can you talk about the photographer who was sent to the Averys by the DOJ? So I have in videos already. That is Kathy D. Williford. And she was a DOJ agent, a special agent for the DOJ, and she was working Teresa's route for Auto Trader before Teresa took it over. And she's apparently going to be in Convicting a Murderer coming out in 2019. So, I think after this information about her doing that route and whatever, if they don't have a damn good explanation for it, I think she's going to end up causing more problems for the state than they hope that she'll be solving, I think. So I always wondered why the investigators asked Brendan over and over about the hood. Yeah, they were fishing for what they wanted because they knew. Battery wires were ripped away. Yeah, exactly. Miss KZ Q&A today. Can you sum up anything significant major she said? I've been summing it up. I will continue summing it up. I don't know. I can't just go back and cover an hour and 30 minutes worth of things that I've been saying. But like I said, like I've been talking about the battery, like we were talking about, I don't know. You might want to go back and just rewatch this live. We've been talking about it the whole time. I don't want to sit here and waste everybody who's been listening. I don't want to frustrate them listening to stuff that they've already been listening to for an hour and a half. So if you go back when we're done, if you can go back and rewatch this, you'll be able to see what we were all talking about. David, how do you know that Zellner bombshell alert? Sorry, I just don't trust anything in this case. Remember, we used to believe there were two different RAV vehicles. Blocking, sorry. Yeah, I was thinking Colburn too. Oh, kitty. You hear my kitty? You hear the bell? Let's see. There will be written documentation taken down when the RAV4 was found that would include details of the battery in it and the time. That is probably how she knows. Crown Vics are also police cars, as I was stating, yes. Brendan didn't have anything to do with it. His story didn't make any sense, and there was zero evidence. Absolutely. I agree, Erekose, right on middle of the road with an open mind. Mainstream is what you are looking for. Fring are crazy. Yeah. Yeah, the battery... Yay, was battery dead after only 3 days? Well, who knows what happened. But all it would take is if somebody left the door open and an interior light stayed on for even 6 hours, that would probably drain the battery in 6 hours. Keep yelling, Falcon. Lucha Erekose, yeah, crazy folk. Yeah, I know. Sorry for repeating, but can someone explain the inconsistency that the car was seen near Senex Station at the roundabout? I don't know what inconsistency you're referring to. Oh, is the kitty getting up on the couch behind me? Who's producing this new program that's coming out? His name is Sean Rech. R-E-C-H. Sean Rech. He's done some other documentaries where he was actually exposing corruption. For some reason, he wanted to cover it up this time, or he wanted to attempt to cover it up this time. Or he didn't know what he was getting into. Maybe he really truly thought that I don't know how much he's really researched before he decided to take on this project, because it could be that he didn't research enough, and now that he's digging into all this, he could be going, what on earth have I gotten myself into? So, but I'm not sure where he's at mentally. Hi, Mr. Erekose. Did you read Zellner's tweets today? Let's see, everybody. Did we read Zellner's tweets today? Everybody? Did we? I'm sorry. Yes, we were reading Zellner's tweets today. Yes, we absolutely were. We'll be talking about the Q&A for weeks. Jay, why do you keep saying that? It makes more sense that BOD came in and tossed the keys there in SA room. All of these questions make more sense if it is BOD. That's true. Somebody blocked. Okay, Michelle J. I think I got it. Since since BD had gotten TH to stop and pull over. It's BOD. You want to say BOD when you're talking about Bobby. BD is Brendan. So Brendan didn't pull her over or flag her down. Just wanted to throw that out there, Randon. Where'd Travis go? Travis disappeared again. Damn it. Because she told you who, how, today, and why, and if you can read, I shouldn't have to point it out. This is more information that CNN and Fox combined. Erekose News Now. Oh, thank you, J-Man. OMG, Marissa and Erekose. There's 177 people tonight. More than I've ever seen in a live. Woohoo, congrats. Oh, thank you so much, Amber. That is actually my new top. I think yesterday we were at 148. And then, so definitely 177 will be the new top. So that's really cool. I'm really glad. Especially since this one was so on the, spur of the moment. I didn't decide to do this live literally until like probably 1 o'clock this afternoon. So it is kind of cool that we got, almost 200 people in here when it was so kind of cavalier, as it were. TH camera been found. It was burned in a burn barrel. Here's a link to convicting a murderer. There you go. Thank you. Yeah, Marissa kicks butt, man. Damn it. Tuning in from Waupun, Wisconsin. Interesting to see how the puzzle is coming together. I think so, Steven. Erekose, here's a link about the foul smell reported near Avery Salvage. You said you hadn't heard it before. Okay, I'll check it out. Not damn G's. Camera was found in the Dassey burn barrel. Yes. 184 now, 183. It's because I'm here. Oh yeah, they're all here for Falcon. Totally. I just got caught up on the stream, so hi everybody. Love the turnout. Woot woot. Hi Bella. There's Travis. Where politics play a real role in the criminal justice process is with the judges, and that's absolutely right. Look at the politics of the Brendan Dassey on-bank judges who reversed the magistrate judge and who dissented. And yes, what Travis is saying there, and basically, is that the well, how are we going to put this? The conservative judges voted against Brendan. The liberal judges voted for Brendan. And that's essentially what he's getting at. Yes, in the burn barrels with the cleared, then back to the Avery yards and then disappear back. Right. Erekose's continued centrist, open-minded, fact-based discussions are an example of what should be the norm for public defenders and prosecutors and headlights. What is wrong in cases such as this? Oh, I thank you so much for that, Brian Mueller. That's, I'm touched. I'm glad that I put the effort in to try to be that fair-minded, even though I clearly have my leanings. But I do try to be fair-minded, and I'm glad that shines through. Why haven't the full calls with Jody and SS from 1031 been released? 30 minutes total when all of this raping and killing was going on. That's a good question. If it's not released, it sure heck should be. Camera was in SA burn barrel. Yes. Falcons can Kratz. I don't know. Any chance KZ can subpoena Bobby for questioning from her investigators and herself before all these court dates? Not sure. My followers follow my lead. All 2 of them. I gotta say, Falcon, I actually like you. I don't agree with your opinions about the case, but I like it. Stupid question because I'm new. What does queso mean? It means Calumet. CA means Calumet. S means sheriffs. O means office. So queso, and basically it's the investigation reports. SA and BD needs us to believe in them. KZ said, I'm guessing the calls paint SA in an innocent light. so they never released them. That's they definitely would do that, because how's he going to be murdering and raping and stabbing and cutting hair and shooting a girl while he's talking all kissy face and with Jody on the phone, right? It's incongruous. It doesn't fit. I'm guessing the call, right. A leathery object like an egg or something. It's getting harder now to put the pieces together, more so now. Where can the remaining bones of TH be? Obviously not a thorough job, but can someone give me a theory on that? Well, here's your theory. If they were burned, if there was a burn over at the Manitowoc County gravel pit, I would make the argument that animals could have dragged the bones away. In fact, animals do that. So that's one possible explanation. The reason for all the viewers tonight is because Zellner dropped the bombshell. I agree. Jade Champ is probably right. But on the other hand, my numbers have been steadily growing each night. So, but definitely there's probably something to be said for the fact that Zellner's Q&A today got people excited. And where's one of the places that people are learning to go to talk about the case? You're seeming a little bit mad tonight, Jay. What's going on, buddy? Is there something wrong? Are you okay? They sure did. Gets noggin jogging, doesn't it? Politics are an unfortunate reason, are an unfortunate reality in the CJ process. Why this forum is awesome, and that facts and reasoning are paramount. Absolutely, Travis. And I hope you stick around here to continue to remind me of that. Spicy Melody. CASO stands for Calumet County Sheriff's Office Investigation, right? That's some funny. Thank you for the queso answer. Camera was in the Dassey, I believe, but I can look in queso. Well, she says it was in the Dassey barrel, but that it ended up in Stevens. But she says it originated. Everything was burning in the Dassey barrel. Gaming. We in Europe are waking up. That's why the counter is going up. Could be true, Paula. Let's see here. Yes, Dom. Please hit like and share. Yes, yes. Please hit like and share, everybody. Scott Taddick is suspected of smelting the bones of TH at his job. Ooh, come here, buddy. What's up, kitty? I thought for sure they were released. Turns out a few seconds of 30... Uh-oh. What do you got there? Here, go get it. Watch out. Move. Let's see here. I thought for sure they were released. Turns out only a few seconds of 30 minutes. Might have to end this session, man. Kiddo's getting pretty... I'm hoping to pull motion for new trial and do a side-by-side with the 19 or question. Have you kind of done a quick mental check of that already? Sorry, I'm just kind of catching up here because I was... To pull motion for new trial and do a side-by-side with the 19 or question. Have you kind of done a quick mental check of that already? I'm not exactly sure what you're asking me there, Travis. Some killers like to take trinkets. Some take pictures, wondering if Bob has anything like that. Yeah, Jody was in jail. Exactly. I'm new here. Been watching your live podcast for a while, and have followed this case from the beginning, as well as the West Memphis 3 prior to their Alford plea. Cool. It's great to have you, Julie. It's great to have you here. I do have a bit of a fear of this case is going to go the way of the West Memphis 3. We should try to locate the old dam Zellner is referring to. JD, no. I think BOD and Scott Taddick tried to burn her in one location, couldn't get the body to fully burn. Then he went to his job and burned 60% of it. I guess that's a plausible theory. It's certainly plausible. There is the cute kitty. The answer is no on the pardon question. Yeah, Trump is technically not allowed to. And part of the reason why Trump's not allowed to is because why? Who knows? Somebody type it. Somebody type it down here. Come on. Type it in the chat. Why is it? I've gone over this how many times? The federal government can't get involved in state matters, right? What was it? Come on, I know one of you is going to get it. Marissa! Woo! Marissa got it. And Amber. And Joseph. It's a state case, and that's exactly why Trump can't do anything about it. So, thought I heard somewhere that Pam Sturm had ties to LE. Well, she's a private investigator. She is somewhat related to Poggle, I think through marriage maybe, but I did see a picture at one point in time where she was at a backyard, like a barbecue or something, and the Poggles were there and the Sturms were there. If the body was burned in the fire, there would be brown residue. I have a bad feeling that they never going to release SA, that they're going to have him killed in jail, maybe by a jealous inmate. I suppose that's a possibility, but she's just a faster typer than me. Let's see, question. So her 19 points in her tweets laid it out. Some sounded familiar to what KZ raised in previous motions and filings. Yeah, some of it is. Some of it definitely was the same stuff she had been saying all along. Some of it was basically amended to include some of the new things she's finding out with regards to these new witnesses that are coming forward and that sort of stuff. So it did. I see what you mean there. I see what you mean there, Travis. That it did incorporate. It did. There are some things from what she originally filed that have remained unchanged. It seems to me, but there are the things that she is discovering that she is making her little amendments. If dog's not getting a hit on the bones is evidence the bones were not present at the time yes, that is the name on his PayPal. She is tight with God, so she pretty much has ties with everybody. Kind of didn't expand. Did he transfer body and blazer? Hold on a second, folks. Okay. How soon was BOD's car crushed after the murder? I don't recall Zellner giving a time, but it was in the first Q&A. She said it was crushed, but she didn't. I don't recall a time. I don't recall a date. So you have kind of mentally checked off what is new. What in your opinion was biggest point or points today? To me, the biggest points are, Scott Taddick was at Avery Salvage at noon on the 31st. The battery being a Crown Vic instead of the type of battery that should be in a RAV4. There was I don't know. There was a few other things there. I just, those were really, I think, really the big takeaways, though. Those particular ones. I think Zellner is going to continue to do these little Q&As whenever she has some stuff that she feels is exciting. I just think she's going to do that. She's not going to do them all the time. It was probably 2 weeks ago when she did that first one, so she's probably going to space them out. But whenever she accumulates some things that she's excited about, she's probably going to schedule one of these Q&As, and that's seems like the way she's going to run it. The brown residue would be seen in the regular fire. The burn barrel would be too hot. That's why I'm saying they burnt most of her in the smelter, and I understand that's fine. I get what you're saying, and there's merit to that. Erekose, can you create a calendar of all the newly discovered events, 10/31 through 11/5? If anyone has put, that's actually the second time somebody asked me to do that. It will take some doing to do, though. Travis, do you think Zellner filing so close to Christmas is good or bad? The battery cable's pulled off. Now we know why, right? BOD. The BOD had contact with Teresa. The RAV4 being seen driving away from the Avery salvage yard. Oh yes, that was another big one. Two witnesses saw. I think it was. What was it? 2 witnesses saw the RAV4 being driven away by an unknown driver. Yeah, absolutely. That was another big one. That one was slipping my mind there. Big fire would attract cops. I can't believe they would try to bum her whole body out in the open. Burn her whole body, right? The battery cables couldn't have been pulled. They had to have been unscrewed and removed. His vehicle caught fire and burnt for some reason. He tried to collect insurance. BOD vehicle was then crushed. Oh, it caught fire. Okay. Erekose, can you put... It caught fire. Really? It caught fire. And then it crushed. Do you have... By the way, Miss Dibrin, do you know where that is? That account of the blazer fire? I would love to see it. You've said there was something about the battery cables being messed with. The batteries are 2 different types. That's why they were pulled off. One was top post. One was a side post. That's the real reasons why. Well, all right, we'll read a few more comments. Coming up on 2 hours, so I think we're going to start shutting it down now. Mercedes, so her brief is due on 12/20 something. It's on, yes, December 20th. Yes, it's due on December 20th. I don't think it is going to matter. I assume that the state will have the opportunity to respond, and so that will be way after Christmas. And yes, the state will get to respond, and I think it's generally like 30 days that they have. Maybe it might be more. But they do get a certain amount of time to respond, and they can ask for an extension as well, if they want. And then Zellner will get to reply to the response from the state, which will then be another, whatever it is, 30 days after the state's response. The fire thing. Since we have heard that ST's trailer burned as well, has KZ ever mentioned that? Not that I know of. Who was the recent interview with? I think I heard it talked about yesterday on your video. Something about Barb said the stuff talked about was not. That was Brad Dassey did a radio interview yesterday with a local station there in Wisconsin, around where he lives, basically, and he did an interview with them, and he was basically saying some things that made Scott, well, they weren't very flattering to Scott, and he kind of created a little bit of, got the family members were kind of a little bit upset about it, I guess. But is your cat Republican or Democrat? My cat doesn't have any political leanings. She just likes food and water and to play with strings and stuff like that. BOD's car catching fire sounds sus to me. Anyone know if Mama and Papa Avery are still? They are. They're both still alive. What is the theory of TH? What is the theory of TH remains disposal timeline? It's a bit confusing as the timeline of what happened to her from the time BOD attacked her in the road. I'm not sure what Zellner thinks of how the bones got where they got exactly. Well, if we think about it, yes, we do. We know, because she clearly states that Josh Redant saw the fire in the Dassey burn barrel, right? So because of that, we know that the burn was happening there, and all they would have had to do after the burn. Now, obviously, some of it had to be taken somewhere else for 60% and 30 teeth to be gone. And then it could have been dumped from that barrel into Avery's burn pit, because it's literally about 10 or 15 yards away. I mean, where this burn barrel was at Barb's, it's literally 10 to 15 yards away. It's not far, so you just, after the barrel starts to cool down or whatever, you just grab some gloves or something and you take it over and tip it over into Avery's burn pit. And then, you know what I mean? So that's definitely a possibility. But as we know, some bones stayed inside of that trash can. They were stuck in the grime and muck or whatever at the bottom of that trash can, basically, or whatever. They didn't come out. And so there were still some in there. Kiddo's a Democrat. Demo cat. That's funny. Amber, I'm hearing so much new stuff. Unless they did, let's see. I'm wondering, did they dismember her and freeze her? I don't think so. The timing of hearings matter more on actual trials. Christmas time can make an iffy case better for a jury trial, but it can also work against you. Yeah, I can imagine it just depends on circumstances, really, most of the time. But then you could have gone to the media. It's all credible. Look at it. If you want Mom and Pa Avery, yes, I agree wholeheartedly. I was just kidding around. I'm gonna put together a timeline and hand it to Erekose to present if he'd like. Oh well, thank you, Amber. Obviously, yeah. If you put together that timeline, I'll be happy to get it out there for people to see. What's your email address so I can show you? Email address is in the information below the video. You can listen to Brad Dassey's interview on YouTube. Yes, you can. How did they move her body from the RAV left at the dam. Is the dam super close to the Dassey burn barrel location? No. Most people think it was just ditched at the dam. That not necessarily with Teresa in it. There's like I said, there's not a there's a lot to figure out, but basically no, Teresa wasn't there with the car, wasn't there with the RAV4 by the dam. She would have been, to me, my mind, somebody after they were done with their initial whatever they were doing when they did this to Teresa would have then taken that car and parked it way the heck away or whatever. Then we know that Colburn gets alerted to it, and then suddenly it's coming back to Avery Salvage. So that's where we're at on that. I've been following along faithfully for months. I've watched both docs twice. Great job, everyone, and especially you, Erekose. I knew you were innocent. I knew they were innocent after I watched the first one. Yeah, I was certain of Brendan's innocence, and I became more kind of. I eventually came around to truly believing Steven's innocence. I still have a little room for doubt, but I did spend probably a good 8 to 10 months on the fence about Steven after I watched MAM1. I just wasn't convinced yet. It took a lot of documents, a lot of fishy crap, a lot of just again and again and again where the investigators and the people involved in this case are just doing such wonky crap, just ridiculous, stupid BS. And, and so much of it suggests nefarious, motives. So, yeah. Kathy Kinney, I've been saying that all day, but could BOD be a stalker she spoke to prior instead of RH, whom I thought. I mean, that could be. What if Bobby was this person calling her that Tom Pierce talks about? I don't know that that's true. But, I mean, for me, it's always been a wonder who was harassing her. To me, that seems like the place to start. Who was harassing this girl that ended up dead? Right? Am I right? Hey, sorry to chime in at the end again. Great chat last night. Here's my main key. Pun intended. Haha. To proving SA innocent. Since the killer burned everything and ditched the car, where are the keys? Exactly. Where are her house keys? Where is her studio key? Where is, any other various keys she might have? Her key for her bike lock. You know what I mean? No, Brendan first says toes, then says tummy and other parts. Yeah. Was actually off Cuss Road where they looked at. Yeah. Casey's, in Casey's tweets today, she said that there is proof that BOD had been looking up and had pics of TH on the PC. What is the Sikiki note? Oh, you haven't seen the Sikiki note, dude? Okay. Shoot, do I have a copy of that? I'll find it for you, Travis. I'll find it for you and I'll send it to you in an email. Okay, so this is the last thing I'll say. Whoops. This is the last thing I'll say, Travis, as we go out here. The Sikiki letter is a letter that was written. It's very horrible penmanship, hard to read, bad grammar. It's just, it's a grammatical mess, essentially. But it's a letter that refers to Teresa's body being burnt in a smelter and at the aluminum foundry or whatever, and in the aluminum smelter or whatever it was that she was burned there. It says Sikiki on it, but what has been coming out is that Scott Taddock's nickname at work was Skinny, and the people that worked at this factory were all below, they were very uneducated. Most of them were illiterate or barely literate. And that's where they think that this letter came from. It was somebody who was barely literate who was trying to, alert authorities to what they saw. But, they just had such bad penmanship, bad grammar, bad spelling, and everything that it ended up being hard to discern. Make sure you like this vid. Thanks, Erekose, for all your hard work. Yes, thank you so much, Angie Norton. I appreciate it that you appreciate it. Geez, did Brendan write that? You're welcome, J-Man. Thank you, Shona. And I invite everybody to stick around and talk in this chat because, like I said, after the last like 2 or 3 premieres and lives that I've been, the last 2 or 3 or 4 days, this chat has stayed with, quite a few people in it talking. And if you guys want to stick around when the live feed goes out and you want to sit in here and chat, we've been having some really, really cool chats in here after the videos. So if you want to stick around and chat, feel free to do so. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe, and we'll see ya.